Have you ever felt like your life is standing still even though you're constantly moving? You try so hard, you pray, you plan, you hope, but something feels off. It's as if your energy is being poured into a cup with a crack at the bottom. You keep giving, but nothing fills. Deep down, you wonder, why am I not growing? Why is nothing falling into place? Many people spend years wondering this, and most never realize the quiet truth. It's not because they are lazy, it's not because they are incapable, it's because their focus is everywhere except where it matters. They are constantly watching others, measuring themselves against someone else's journey, waiting for people's approval, comparing their blessings to someone else's filtered life. And in doing so, they forget themselves. Allah Almighty has placed within you the potential for greatness, but He also gave you the responsibility to protect your focus. Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. It starts from the inside, not from your environment, not from your status, but from what you give your attention to. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Be mindful of Allah and He will take care of you." That mindfulness begins with focus. Focus on your thoughts, your prayers, your actions, your habits, and your intentions. You cannot plant seeds in someone else's garden and expect your own to bloom. Stop looking outward for your peace. Turn inward. Heal what's inside, because the moment you stop chasing the world and start working on your heart, you'll find that everything else begins to fall into place. Not overnight, but gently, beautifully, and in ways only Allah Almighty can design. What if the change you keep praying for is already within reach, but you're waiting for the perfect moment to begin? So many people delay their growth because they think it must start with something grand, a powerful burst of motivation, a life-changing moment, a perfect plan. But that's not how transformation works. The truth is far simpler and more beautiful. Lasting change is built on small steps, done sincerely and consistently. Sometimes it's not about doing more. It's about doing a little every day and doing it for the right reasons. One small act of kindness, one prayer prayed with full heart, one moment of restraint when your temper flares. That's what builds you. That's what shapes you, because what you do daily becomes who you are. Allah Almighty reminds us, so whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Nothing is wasted, not even the smallest step toward Him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if small." It's not the size of the action, it's the sincerity behind it. And whether you keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. So if you're struggling to feel motivated, remember this. You don't need to take massive leaps today. Just one sincere action, one better choice, one honest moment of reflection. Yeah. Then, when you move even a little for the sake of Allah the Almighty, He will move mountains for you. Have you ever looked at your life and felt like nothing is moving forward, no matter how hard you try? You begin to wonder if you're stuck, if you've missed something, if maybe, just maybe, this is all there is for you. But the truth is far more hopeful than that. You're not stuck. You're distracted. This world is full of noise, social media, opinions, news, endless comparison. And slowly, without realizing it, your heart becomes cluttered. Your mind becomes tired. Your energy gets pulled in every direction except the one that matters. You feel drained, not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing too much of what doesn't feed your soul. Allah Almighty has not left you behind. He has not forgotten you. But He is waiting for you to turn your focus back to what matters. And do not waste, for indeed the wasteful are brothers of the devils. Every moment spent on something that doesn't help your growth is a moment stolen from your potential. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Part of the perfection of one's faith is to leave what does not concern him." Let that guide you. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion is worth your energy. Not every distraction is harmless. Your heart was created to worship, to reflect, to grow. But that can only happen when you protect your focus, when you stop pouring your energy into what's meaningless and start investing it in what brings you closer to Allah Almighty. That's when the fog lifts. That's when clarity returns. That's when you realize you were never stuck. You just needed to come back to yourself. And when you do, everything around you starts to shift. Have you ever changed who you are just to feel accepted? Held back your dreams because someone might disapprove? Hid your struggles behind a smile because the world expects you to be perfect? If so, you're not alone. Many people spend their lives chasing validation, trying to please everyone but themselves. But the more you seek approval from others, the further you drift from who you truly are. This is a heavy burden, and it never ends, because no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. Someone will always find a reason to criticize. The real question is, will you live for their acceptance or for the pleasure of Allah Almighty? Is it not sufficient for His servant that Allah is his guardian? You don't need the world's approval when you have the protection, love, and guidance of your Creator. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever seeks to please people by displeasing Allah, Allah will be displeased with him. Trying to make everyone happy will only leave you empty, but pleasing Allah Almighty fills you with peace, even when others don't understand your path. Let go of the need to impress. Let go of the fear of standing out. Your worth does not come from likes, comments, or applause. It comes from within, from knowing that you are doing your best to walk a path that brings you closer to your Lord. And when you stop living for others and start living in alignment with your purpose, something beautiful happens. You stop shrinking, you stop hiding, you begin to rise. That's not arrogance. That's clarity. That's strength. That's confidence rooted in faith. When you live for Allah Almighty, you no longer need permission to be yourself. You no longer need to ask, am I good enough? Because your answer is already written. You are enough. You always were. When was the last time you sat in stillness, away from the noise of the world, and simply listened to your own heart? Not scrolling, not replying, not checking what everyone else is doing. Just you alone with your thoughts. For many people, this is terrifying, but it is in that quiet where you rediscover who you are, and more importantly, where you remember who Allah Almighty is to you. The world today is louder than ever. Everyone is talking, everyone is sharing, everyone is performing. But in all this noise, we lose something precious. We lose the ability to reflect, to think deeply, to connect sincerely with our purpose. We become reactive instead of intentional, lost instead of guided, and slowly we begin to feel empty. But Allah Almighty invites us to return to stillness and remember your Lord within yourself in humility and in fear, without being apparent in speech. True remembrance doesn't require noise. It requires presence, a quiet heart, a willing soul. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would often retreat into solitude, not because he disliked people, but because he needed time to reflect, to reset, to reconnect with his Lord. You need that too, not just once in a while, but regularly. Time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with your soul. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit in silence after prayer. Write your thoughts. Let your heart speak. Let it breathe. Because when you step away from the noise, something powerful happens. Your vision becomes clear. Your priorities come into focus. You begin to remember what truly matters. And you'll realize that the answers you were chasing out there were always inside you, waiting in silence, waiting for you to listen. Have you ever ended a day feeling completely drained, even though you didn't do anything physically demanding? Your body is still, but your soul is tired. You feel overwhelmed, scattered, anxious, and you wonder why. The truth is, it's not always about doing too much. Often it's about giving too much of yourself to things that do not deserve your energy. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of focus, patience, and strength. These are not infinite. If you give them away to distractions, to negative thoughts, to people who pull you down, you will find yourself spiritually empty before the day even ends. Allah Almighty reminds us, and do not follow that of which you have no knowledge. Indeed, the hearing, the sight, and the heart, all those will be questioned. This means we are responsible for what we listen to, what we watch, and what we let into our hearts. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt." Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's wisdom, it's faith, it's strength. Start being intentional with your time. If something brings you closer to Allah Almighty, feed it. If it pulls you away, let it go. Not everything that asks for your attention deserves it. Not every conversation needs your reply. Not every invitation needs your presence. Say no respectfully when your peace is at stake. Guard your heart. Guard your focus. Guard your time. Because your energy is the foundation of your growth. And when you protect it, you'll find yourself feeling lighter, clearer, more motivated. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped carrying what was never yours to hold. Do you ever feel like life is just happening to you? Days pass, weeks disappear, and you can't remember what you've been doing with your time. You're busy, always doing something. But when the day ends, there's a heaviness, a feeling that nothing truly meaningful was accomplished. This is what happens when we live on autopilot, always reacting, never choosing. But you were not created to just get by. You were created for purpose, for growth, for worship. And that only happens when you stop reacting to life and start living with intention. Allah Almighty says, "Indeed, this Quran guides to that which is most upright." Your path is already laid out. The guidance is clear, but you must walk it with awareness. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Actions are judged by intentions, and every person will get what they intended." This one statement is life-changing because it reminds you that your intention holds power. Not your circumstances, not your feelings, but your intention. When you wake up each day, ask yourself, what do I want from today in the sight of Allah Almighty? Is it growth? Is it healing? Is it a small act of kindness? Then plan your day around it. Block out distractions. Say no to anything that pulls you off course. And follow through. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be purposeful. Because when you move through life with clear intention, guided by faith, even the